What's up, everybody? This is Tatum. I'm back with another episode of Flowers, and we've come to our end of our Led Zeppelin analysis, review, recap. We're on Zeppelin 4. I can't believe it's been like a month since I started this, and the feedback I've been getting from it is very great. So I appreciate everybody who tuned in from 1 to 4, all the comments, all the likes, all the history you guys told me that I didn't know. Yeah, I just appreciate it all. And yeah, let's wrap this up on a high note. You know what I mean? I don't usually show me drinking on the show, but since it's the fourth one, I'm going to take a sip of my Jameson, and then we're going to get into this. All right, man, we're here. Zeppelin 4. This is probably one of my favorite Zeppelin albums. I said that from the get-go. And I know that it's technically not called Zeppelin 4 for the person in the comment who's ready to, but you know, this album doesn't have a title. I know, but for, everybody calls it Zeppelin 4. This is how you identify. You're not going to say, the Zeppelin album that, Zeppelin album that's, yeah. So Zeppelin 4, we're here. Yeah, let's just get into it. To me, going back and listening to it to get ready for this, just to get ready for this video, it sounded like, if you listen to my Zeppelin 3 review, like, that was probably like the first time me getting into Zeppelin 3 and things of that nature. And during that, I found out that I guess people really didn't like take to Zeppelin 3 the way they should. So going back and listening to it with that in mind, going back and listen to it with that in mind, this album sounds like Zeppelin was like, oh, y'all thought you thought we were slackers, and they came and hit you with the most haymakers and knockout punches for 8 straight tracks. I think this is their strongest 8 tracks, just up until this point from 1 to 4. I don't think it's a skippable song on here. I think they're all heavy hitters. I think. Yeah, like they're just all strong, and I think they did that on purpose. Like I wouldn't say their back was against the wall, but it sounds like their back was against the wall with this one. I think it's their most successful album. It's like 3 times over diamond by now. And to be truthfully honest with you, the songs on this album, especially the first half, are songs that I heard throughout my whole life, but just not knowing that they were Zeppelin. Until I knew they were Zeppelin, you know what I mean? Like, I heard them like, I remember this song from that commercial or that movie or that, just like I heard these songs a little bit more prior than I would say, I mean, A Whole Lot of Love and everything of that nature. But other than that, I heard songs on the first half of this album more than I heard any Zeppelin song throughout my 30 years of living. So to get into it, it's dope that, like I said, we all know that the album doesn't have a title necessarily. So the idea, you know how artists get, they just go over artsy with it. Like, this album ain't got no title, but what we're going to do is everybody make a symbol. And that's going to be kind of like what the album is. But I thought that was dope that every member of the band created or made a symbol that, represent them and put it on the cover. And to me, just with music in itself, I like when the artist, this is going to sound weird, but I know how to say it without sounding weird, but I like when the artist is like, when they make that polished work, for lack of better words. Like, I love the raw shit. I love when you can see the potential. I love when you feel their heart or whatever you want to call it. But when they make the album that is just clean and like, we know who we are, or the artists know who they are at that point, and they can like, they're just comfortable with it. And like, I always related to like Amy Winehouse, Frank, and Back to Black. One's really raw, but one's very polished and still raw. But I just love Back to Back a little bit more. Yeah, I thought this album was very polished. I think they took this album and it had all the stuff that 1 through 3 had, like the folk songs, the rock songs, the hard rock songs, the acoustic side, the blues side. Like, they took everything and polished that bitch up, and like, here we are. Like, you know what I mean? So let's get into it. The first song, Black Dog, which is named after a dog that wandered around the studio as they were recording the album. I thought that was funny. Like, imagine the dog like, shit, I want to hear that new Zeppelin shit, and he going back to his litter and like, shit, y'all ain't heard that new Zeppelin album. They over there, they over there putting in work. Like, can you imagine? But I thought it was funny that the first song was named Black Dog, just in tribute to that dog in a way. The song itself is dedicated to, for lack of better words, like a gold digger in a way. A woman sucking a man dry, pause, of everything that, he has, his riches and things. And in return, she gets fame and she gets money and she gets to live the life and things of that nature. Like I said, I always think it's a step beyond like the how rockers always do like the groupie song, but it's like the first. I ain't saying she a gold digger, but in the 1970s. So I thought that was dope, and like I said all the time, Zeppelin just has a way of opening the album that's just gets you ready for the album. I can't stress that enough. Like every time I'm just, oh, shit, yes, this is a new Zeppelin album. I'm excited. Like, they don't have an intro, at least up until this point, that's lackluster to me. And that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. You can have a different opinion, but I don't think they start any album off bad. And like the guitar that comes in around like 336. Man, it's just like God. like man, that solo is just ridiculous. Like, just hands down ridiculous. That's Black Dog. Great intro. Then we go into Rock and Roll, which is, the song is basically what the title implies. This is rock and roll. This is it's just rock and roll. And I also learned that the way they made this song, two things. The way they made this song was that, like, to get into the vibe of shit, I guess Zeppelin would just play a Little Richard song. What's the name of the song? Keep It Rockin'. Like, they would play that. So this is kind of their rendition of that in a way, like inspired by. And this is a song that came about from just that jam session. You know what I mean? I also heard that the group experienced writer's block, like recording this album, and I can't blame them, bro. They just came off 1 through 3 great albums. They became like the biggest band in the world, period. So they experienced writer's block, and this song kind of got them out of that. And I'll never forget, like, Erykah Badu has something, a saying that I never forget, and she says like she don't believe in writer's block is just like a downloading period for an artist. And I always took that to heart, like, just being a writer and things of that nature, like not trying to force something. Like, and I also thought it was dope that they had to go back to their roots to start something new. Like, they had to go to their roots to plant a new flower in a way, if that makes sense. Like, let's go back. I know we could do rock and roll. Let's go back to the jam sessions and shit we used to do with the Little Richard and just find a groove and a pocket and see where we go from there. And I always think that's just a dope thing that they did, at least with this song especially. So, yeah, I mess with that song a lot. This is a song that I would love to see, like, I would have loved to see this perform live. Like, this is one of the ones, just because it's so rocking, so jamming, and I would just love to see them feed off each other, like, in a live performance. So that's one thing that when I was listening to it, I was like, damn, I really wish I could have seen this. But I think that was like all the old acts that I'll never get to see ever perform. Like, yeah. So then we go into the Battle of Evermore. And what's crazy is that this is the first Zeppelin song with a feature. It features Sandy Denny. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. And I thought that was cool. Like, this is the first album they, for lack of better words, collab with another artist or different artists in that way. And I just thought that was cool. Maybe that had to do with like the writer's block thing. Like, now that I think about it, like, let's bring some more ideas into the room as we create. But I thought it was dope that it was kind of like a duet in a way. And the way that the verses, like, just from I'm gonna get like nerdy about like lyric breakdown, not lyric breakdown, but song structure breakdown. It's really dope because, like, he's singing one thing and she's singing the other thing in between his rhyme to me. Like, it's a line. Let me see. Like, she says, like, Sing as you raise your bow, shoot straight than before, and then he comes in with no comfort has the fire at night that the light's face is cold. He's rhyming his own pattern inside her pattern, and then she comes in and like it's just like very complex. Like I wondered first listening to it, I know me first listening to it, it kind of like I had to look up the lyrics and like, okay, let me see what this is about and see how did they structure this, because that part threw me off, but it kind of made me go like how did they write that song like that, because to me it really sounds like he has his singing part, he rhymes in, and then she's on the outer of his rhyming her words, like, so it's like if that makes sense. That's my nerdiness and how I see like lyrics and just song structure and word structure and shit of that nature. So don't mind me. I just went off into a nerd tangent. But it's also heard that I don't have this vinyl or things of that nature. I want to get the Led Zeppelin like complete like vinyl collection, but that shit is expensive. It was like they have one at Amoeba, but that shit was like just a whole package of all the records. But I heard she has a symbol within the album package as well, like just to commemorate her input on the album and like being pretty much a feature on the record. Like you should get your own symbol as well. I thought that was pretty cool. Like if it's true, if somebody has the vinyl, let me know. Then we go into Stairway to Heaven, and what can I say about Stairway to Heaven that hasn't already been expressed or said before? Like that song is just, it's one of Zeppelin's best songs, like period. You can't really, I don't think it's an argument to be had there. Uh, yeah, again, I love Led Zeppelin's like I said on Zeppelin 3, I love their introspective songs. Like I love when the song can have multiple meanings to different people, and it's not just about love and blues. And this song, it's I guess some can interpret it as love in a way, but it's not just so straightforward rock love and rock blues or folk love and things of that nature. It's like, some person could view it this way, I could view it this way, you could view it that way. And that's the like Zeppelin that really tugs at my just artist strings in a way. There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold. To me, the song, for lack of better words, I think it's just about choices. The choices you make. That's what I see. I could also view it as like I could drive down Hollywood Boulevard and see some of the people that's there that's like a little weirded out and things of that nature, and I could see like lost dreams, like the girl's going off to find whatever she needs to find. It's like she's leaving home, so she goes off and find in search of something that maybe that she thinks she wants, but maybe she don't need, or like it's so many ways I take it when I hear it. Like it's really depends on the setting that you're in. Like I said, some person can view it as love, lost love, or searching for love, and things of that nature. But I just thought that was pretty dope, and the beat doesn't drop in into the fourth verse. If there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alone there. I mean, like, who the fuck does that? like the beat doesn't drop into the fourth verse, and there's 5 verses. Like, it's just sick. Also, it could be an interpretation of like drug addicts in a way, like always searching for that first high in a way, like, and getting lost in the world trying to keep chasing that first high. Like they're still with a heaven, and then at the end she's still finding her still with a heaven. You know what I mean? So like it's so many ways you could take this song. That's probably why it's one of their biggest records ever. Everybody just feels their own way about it. It's another song I would love to hear live by them, but that goes into Misty Mountain Hop, and I think that song is like a pickup from, I mean, like a not pickup, but just like a energy burst after Stairway to Heaven, and it always trips me out like that. I have to remember that like these albums were made for vinyls, right? So at the end of Stairway to Heaven, the consumer would have to flip over the album, right? Or tape or whatever. And it's basically a start of a new album in a way. Like you taking the album off and you start it. So I always forget that. But then I remember like I don't know. Maybe a lot of artists were like, all right, I know they got to flip the album over at this point. This is going to be on side B. So let me make it like intro like. like just to keep their attention in a way. To me, that I could be totally wrong, but when I was listening to this, it reminded me of that. Like, oh shit, I forgot this shit was on vinyl. Like you had to flip it over, and it's the beginning of a new. So like to keep their attention and keep things going and not break up things. Let's give them with a shot of energy, like adrenaline. And I thought this song was like summed that up to me. I could be wrong, but interpretation is like a trippy song to me, like a trippy experience, like letting go, for lack of better words. Like I just seen it as that. It's like the '70s, so I think a lot of musicians and things of that nature were. I don't know if Zeppelin were, but I think just being around the experience of being in hippies and the experience of drugs and things of that nature all wind up in their music somehow in that era. To me, I thought it was a good way to start the second B-side. And I read something, I don't know who said it, but it was like, it's like rules to being a Zeppelin fan is like, well, I guess just four, and it's like your favorite songs have to be from side B, and don't ever say it's your favorite Zeppelin album. I don't know where I read that somewhere, but I thought that was funny. Like because I think like everybody could say this is their favorite Zeppelin album, and it could get overbearing and stuff. But like, if let's just keep it a secret that this is everybody's favorite Zeppelin album, and your favorite song has to be from side B. Then we go into Four Sticks, which I read it was named that because John played with two drumsticks in each hand on that record. Yeah, just to get a sound off the drum set. I thought that was pretty cool. Just a backstory, interesting story. It reminded me how like just how song titles come about. Like a lot of fans probably were like, "What does Four Sticks mean?" And it make all these big like ideas of what it could be, and they're arguing with their friends, and then for them to come out and be like, "Yeah, I just play with four sticks, two in each hand. That's why it's called Four Sticks." And then you like. But great song nonetheless. Also heard it was a difficult one to record because they had the beat switches from like a 5/8 to a 6/8, and that got me thinking like, damn, if they could record in this time, that this song probably wouldn't have been so hard to record. Like if they had Pro Tools and just the technology of things that you could pause and stop and come in and patch stuff together more easily. But then you probably wouldn't get the feeling that you got with this song. Like the mistakes, one thing I do miss about like how things are all quantized now with music is that you don't really get mistakes. Like you don't, and some of the best songs are made from mistakes. Some of the best part of songs, old songs, are made from mistakes. Like when the drum is a little bit behind, or the guitarist missed that note, or the singer's voice is just not at the pitch that he probably wanted or she wanted it to be. And it makes like this classic moment that is like, do music even have classic moments in like just because it's so computerized and quantized? Like it's a lot of moments that's just it's just too clean in a way. So I appreciate that. I also dig the synth on here. Yeah, I love that synth on this record as well. Just a dope record. Like I said, it's this album, it doesn't have a bad song. So yeah. Then that goes into Going to California, which is my favorite song on the album. Like I love everything about this song. That guitar is just so gentle. This is like a love song, like a man being treated poorly by his woman, breaks up with her, and then he moves to California, and just it feels like California in a way. So it's a line on here that what did it say? Take my chances on a big jet plane. Don't ever let them tell you that they're all the same. The sea was red and the sky was gray. Wonder how tomorrow could ever follow today.
Took my chances on a big jet plane.
Fucking poetry, man. Like that's just like like damn. Like yeah. Like how can you that over top of that guitar is just it's just dope. Like it's another one of those introspective songs that, like I said, this is my favorite song on the album. I love Zeppelin songs that's introspective, and the flow that he does, I would say, looking at it, it still says it's the verse, but I think it's like, well, yeah, I guess it is the verse, but it's like a hook in a way, and he's like,
seems that the wrath of the gods got a punch on the nose, and it started to flow.
It's just like, whoa, shit. Like I didn't like first time hearing him, like, oh shit, I didn't expect that switch right there, and then he drops back in, like. Yeah, that flow is just A1. Like I said before, like Zeppelin songs rarely be having hooks and choruses, and they'd be like the guitar is the hook, or the melody of which he does, it could be considered a hook. But nonetheless, like a lot of the songs just don't have hooks to them, and I think that's just like so fucking dope. Like to be like this legendary band and things of that nature, and to have all these sold out shows and people singing the song, but there's no hooks to the songs. You know how great that is. Like that means like one, they have to listen period to what you're saying, and two, like it's no like corniness to it, for lack of better words, because hooks are hooks. They're courses. They're made to hook you in. They're hooking people in by with no hooks. Like so, imagine how great the music itself has to be. Just a thought. And then we go into the Levees Break, the last song in the album, and there's no better way to end the album. Like, there's no better way to end the album. The drum break at the beginning has been sampled by so many people in hip hop. It's ridiculous. From Beyonce to Eminem on Kim to, you think about it, anyone you think about has used that drum break. Go to it now, and if you haven't listened to it, I'm pretty sure you have. It's When the Levees Break. It's one of the biggest records ever. But that drum break is used everywhere, like every single place. The wailing guitar at the beginning before the drums, and just, man, that shit is just, it's just such a dope record to end the album. And it's like a fucking, it's like a big, like, to me, it's like a big fuck you in a great way. Like, yeah, we did it. Like, we did that shit. Like, I don't want to hear none of your back talk about, oh, this is too folky, this is too acoustic, oh, they're doing too much hard rock. I don't want to hear none of that shit. We fucking 8 songs straight. We knocked this shit out the park, and yeah. And we're gonna end it on the highest of highest notes that you could think of. And you're gonna be fiending for more when we finish. So I just thought When the Levees Break is fucking dope. And just the backstory of the song is like a remake of artist named Kansas Joe McCoy and Memphis Minnie, and I had to go back and listen to that song too. And it's just like a blues folk song, but it centers around the migration of African Americans from the South during the early 1900s. Like 6 million black people left the South to move to just the North. That's why he got that line at the end when he talks about Chicago, and a lot of people migrated to Chicago, Detroit's the Midwest cities and things of that nature. I just thought that was dope. Like I always say, like Zeppelin always has a way of like just giving back to the prior generations that came before them, which they don't have to do. And it's like a lot of black artists. So to me, that means a lot. Like just keeping those people name alive, and also just telling that story. Like I'm pretty sure a lot of people like, I don't care about that, but like, you know what I mean? Like they didn't have to do that. They don't have to do the Little Richard shit. They don't have to do this. Like, but they do it out of respect, out of like just love for the game of music itself, and just that story itself. Like when a person hears When the Levees Break, they could take it as many ways. They could take it as like, pain or love and things of that nature. But the real story behind it, if you go back and do the research of Memphis Minnie and Joe McCoy song, is like, yeah, that's pretty fucking dope. And like, it's some line is like, all that praying and stuff of that nature, it don't mean nothing. Like, it ain't gonna work at this time. Like, because during the 1900s, I don't have to get into the backstory, but you know how African Americans was treated in the South, in America, in the South especially. Like, damn, mama, I'm got a job, I'm working, and blah blah blah, and all this stuff. But when the levees break, you gotta go. Like, they wash away all your homes and things of that nature. Like, it's so deep that it's so dope. But the way that they redid it is just like, because if you listen to the original, like, it's nowhere near the level of intensity and just hardness of the Led Zeppelin version. So I love when people remake songs and they make it better. So that's just me. And like I said, there's no better way to end the album than that. Let's get into best songs. I'm gonna go with Going to California. I'm gonna go with When the Levees Break. And I'm gonna go with Stairway to Heaven. Like, I can't do best songs without putting Stairway to Heaven in it. It just is what it is. Sorry, I picked a song from the first half. Worst song, I'm gonna go with Misty Mountain Hop. There's nothing wrong with this song. It's not a bad song. Like I said, there's no bad songs in this album. But if I'm going with the least on the album, I'm gonna have to go with that. Favorite line, he says, The apples of the valley hold the seeds of happiness. The ground is rich from tender care. Repay, don't forget. Uh, that line stood out to me because again, I'll use a simple analogy, like I was just saying with the Zeppelin paying homage to the people that came before them when they don't have to, right? Like that shit comes back on you tenfold. It comes back in goodness and greatness. Like I took that line meant something to me because that just like I said with that or just yeah, like everything do everything with a good heart, man. Like and always give back to what you of the stuff that made you. Cuz a lot of times people not just in music, but people forget about people who helped them along the way. A lot of successful people in any form of business, a lot of them can forget about the people, they will say the little people who helped you get to this. It took a team. Like it took Ford just wasn't built off one person. It took a team. Down to sports, like the LA Lakers wasn't built just off one person. It took a team. Like it, give back to what you, give back to what made you who you are and what pushed you up into this. Like yeah, the apples of the valley hold the seeds of happiness. The ground is rich from tender care. Repay and don't forget. Like simple as that. Uh, all right. One more shot for the road. And I'm going to sum this up, close this up, wrap this up, conclusions. Again, thanks for everybody who's been watching and riding with me for this 4-part series. Maybe this is a be continued. Wink, wink. Uh, but as far as Zeppelin 4, like I said, perfect album. Like perfect album. Uh, Even compared to the prior 3 that came before it, like I could see people not liking this song here, this song there, but I don't think it's a song on here that you can't rock with. And I think that chip on their shoulder that you stumble just to get up and go harder. You know what I mean? So I think this album was that. I love how they collaborated, had the features on here. They always gave back again. Yeah, it's really not much more I can say about Zeppelin 4 that hasn't been said already. Just a fucking great album. I'm glad it's in the history of just music. I'm glad I get to listen to it. I'm glad I get to analyze it the way I get to analyze it and get the things I pull from it. And that's with all their records. Like, I'm just glad when artists just, I'm glad when artists, you could tell when an artist just cares. So if they care about putting the work in, I'll care about listening to it and understanding the best of my abilities. But yeah, to close this out, I just want to thank everybody again for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend that this guy is talking about Zeppelin and it's pretty good. Uh, what do I usually say? Like flowers for Zeppelin, flowers for Zeppelin. Yeah, this was pretty dope. If you got more artists or bands that you like, you should do a part series on this or blah blah blah. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe button. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Got my Jameson. That's it. Peace.